California, I'm standing here in front of you on behalf of parents around the world. The UK, New Zealand, Australia, they're all on Periscope here and they're standing right now with you. We're in this fight together. I want you to know I've been doing this for 19 years. I've been traveling around the world. I've been speaking to parents. And in the last 3 months, I've been on the road here in America solidly. And I'm getting really, really angry. Here's what I think. How dare you? How dare you take 4-month-old babies? How dare you bully them in the pediatrician's office and tell parents that the vaccines are safe? If you don't vaccinate your child, you'll be signing their death certificate. How dare you kill Mason Bundy? How dare you put Josh Coleman's boy into a wheelchair where he will never walk again? How dare you cripple and maim and murder the minds of our children? This is a future generation and it has been so cruelly damaged. This SB 277, Pan and Alan, you need to know what you are doing because it's going to happen. You are going to murder more babies. You are going to brain damage all these children. You have got blood on your hands from now. This day forward, you have blood on your hands for what you are about to do. And I'm going to tell you this now, we are not scared. We are rising up, as Ely says, we are rising up and we're rising up strong. The parents around America and around the world are coming out and they are not afraid anymore. We are getting down on our knees and we are praying for God's will and then we're standing up on 2 feet and we are standing strong. We are not scared. We are courageous and we will fight you because you're bullies and you've been bullying us for so long and we trusted you with our most precious gifts, our children. We trusted you with everything we have and we are never going to trust you again. And I have to tell you, you need to be scared because we are coming for you and we will walk away from your schools and we will walk away from the pediatricians and we will unite and we will fight this as an army.
Χιλιάδες Πολωνοί βγήκαν στους δρόμους διαμαρτυρόμενοι για τον υποχρεωτικό εμβολιασμό παιδιών. Στο πλαίσιο της Παγκόσμιας ημέρας κατά των εμβολίων, οι πολίτες που διαφωνούν πραγματοποίησαν πορεία διαμαρτυρίας στη Βαρσοβία. Ιδιαίτερα στην Πολωνία, το κίνημα κατά των εμβολιασμών μεγαλώνει συνεχώς, την ώρα που οι αρχές της χώρας ανησυχούν. Θεωρούν πως τέτοιου είδους κινήματα θα προκαλέσουν σοβαρά προβλήματα στη δημόσια υγεία.
L'Italia nel 2014 a Washington la presenza della Lorenzin è stata insignita come capofila delle strategie vaccinali nel mondo.
Almost spontaneously, this mass of people came together because this time they want the government to listen.
Il problema non sono i vaccini in sé per sé. Il problema è che nel nostro ministero c'è la Grazzo.
When Dr. Andrew Wakefield and Francesca Lester brought the documentary Vax to Italy, they wanted to awaken the public to the news of the worst medical fraud in history. The Italian government immediately reacted violently, first by censoring Vaxxed, and then on June the 7th, 2017, the Minister of Health proposed the strictest mandatory vaccine law in Europe.
Quello che noi chiediamo è che le industrie farmaceutiche escano dalle nostre istituzioni.
Quello che stiamo combattendo ora non è solo per i vaccini, è in gioco la libertà dell'individuo in quanto tale perché è stato messo da parte sugli interessi delle multinazionali, che possono essere quelle delle farmaceutiche come in questo caso, ma anche quelle del petrolio o quelle delle banche, quindi fra un po' ci dovremo lottare su tanti altri temi.
Chiamo a raccolta anche i professionisti del mondo medico, i quali forse non hanno capito che noi qui oggi siamo i pionieri di questa battaglia che prima o poi riguarderà anche loro, perché anche loro non avranno più una libertà di opinione, anche loro non potranno più scegliere quali terapie consigliare o sconsigliare.
L'obbligo è incostituzionale il decreto perché non c'è urgenza, è incostituzionale perché viene vietato l'accesso all'istruzione, è incostituzionale perché viene violata l'integrità corporea sancita nella Convenzione Europea per i diritti umani e noi ci appelleremo alla Corte di Giustizia Europea.
Ci stanno chiedendo un pizzo per mandare i nostri figli a scuola.
Ma
Io il decreto Lorenzin, ripeto, l'ho strappato in diretta televisiva perché non merita commenti, perché costituisce la violazione dei diritti fondamentali di libertà.
Con la Costituzione scomparirà l'informazione.
Il decreto è, vaneggiante e contraddittorio, anche perché conclude il decreto con un invito alla informazione dei genitori dopo averli obbligati. Questo è veramente assurdo. Dopo che gli ho fatto il danno, di che cosa li vogliamo informare?
A proposito dell'autismo, avendo una figlia così, scusate di questa cosa,
Esistono i danni da vaccino?
È dura. Sì, esistono i danni da vaccino.
Sono qui a protestare insieme a tanti altri genitori in quanto mio figlio è stato danneggiato da un vaccino esavalente, l'Infarrix Exa. Oggi lui sa che sono qua, sa che sto facendo questa battaglia perché ultimamente ha presenziato a una manifestazione. Da parte sua ho ricevuto un abbraccio, mi ha commosso questa cosa perché sta comprendendo che io e tanti altri genitori stiamo facendo una battaglia per garantirgli una vita dignitosa. Una vita dignitosa che lo Stato però non garantisce, perché secondo lo Stato questi bambini sarebbero da lasciare emarginati, ghettizzare e magari rinchiudere con psicofarmaci in istituti. No, la società deve farsi carico dei danni che sono prodotti da questi farmaci, imposti oltretutto obbligatoriamente con questo decreto.
Come avvocato ho seguito centinaia di casi di danni da vaccinazione con gli effetti collaterali più disparati. Ho vinto 7 cause per danni da vaccino con cerebropatia con tratti autistici. Quindi oggi l'autismo viene considerato assolutamente estraneo ai vaccini. Io ci ho vinto le cause con perizie mediche e mi sa che non lo dovrei dire perché ormai chi parla di autismo da vaccini viene perseguitato o addirittura radiato, che è ancora peggio.
Ricevo centinaia di messaggi, sempre la stessa storia. Bambini che avevano un normale sviluppo dopo l'evento vaccinale sono diventati autistici. Ma voglio dire, migliaia di persone o sono tutte impazzite oppure c'è qualcosa che non va. Una madre mi chiama e mi dice: c'ho mio figlio con la febbre a 40, sono 3 giorni, il pediatra mi dice: signora non si preoccupi, dia che di pirina, c'ha la febbre a 40 perché il vaccino funziona bene.
Non ci arrenderemo mai!
È difficile provare un danno da vaccino perché si deve lottare contro il pregiudizio e contro la manipolazione delle coscienze. Perché? Perché vige un principio in Italia che non sta scritto da nessuna parte ma che purtroppo funziona benissimo. Il principio è che tutto ciò che proviene dallo Stato non fa male, non può far male e non deve far male, e se fa male non se ne deve parlare.
Non ci sono i soldi per pagare lo straordinario agli infermieri per fare i vaccini, figuriamoci per pagare i vaccini stessi. Proprio in questo momento in cui mancano le coperte agli ospedali, mancano i soldi per pagare lo straordinario, ci si pensa alle vaccinazioni. Quindi quello che si sta tentando, credo, dalla parte delle farmacie è quello di smantellare la sanità pubblica e credo che ci stanno riuscendo. La Lorenzini in questo ha fatto un lavoro perfetto. Il governo non esiste, siamo in una vera e propria dittatura dove le multinazionali qua la fanno da padrone.
Io direi un appello ai medici, perché non è possibile che nessun medico spenda una parola per i suoi colleghi, non è possibile che questi medici non abbiano una coscienza.
Di Andrew, che ho avuto il piacere di conoscere personalmente, penso che sia stato in maniera infame trascinato nelle pagine di giornale, mentre lui merita spazio nelle pagine di storia e ci finirà.
A powerful wave of freedom has been generated from the Rome March. City marches are blossoming everywhere across the country, and they will continue. The coming together of all these people has proven how unity is the only force. Due to the people's pressure, the government has announced revisions to the law, but they still want mandatory vaccination. The fight is not over yet. Now, we all have to unite to make sure that this law does not pass in Italy and that no other country will try it. Are you ready to march? Are you one of us?
This idea that if you feel like you can be comfortable because there's some sort of American exceptionalism and you're seen as being better than everyone else and you're taken care of because we are the richest nation and we do have all the doctors and the scientists, you're wrong. You're wrong. The truth is we're being lied to more than anybody. People are waking up in other countries far faster than we are. In fact, take a look at Italy. That's exactly what we're seeing in Italy. And I brought Jeffrey Jackson. Are you there? I want to bring Jeffrey Jackson in to talk about Italy because this is fascinating.
How you doing, Del?
To tell me what's happening in Italy. I mean, I remember they just passed a huge law very recently saying that they're going to force vaccinate their kids in Italy, sort of like we're doing here in California. How's that turning out, and how's that affected the politics in Italy?
Yeah, well, exactly. There's been a chain of events in Italy over the past couple of years that, when put together, it tells a fascinating story, and it kind of rhymes with California. So, in 2015, as people know, SB 277 was passed in California, and also in 2015, GlaxoSmithKline, one of the biggest pharmaceutical vaccine manufacturers in the world, invested over €1 billion into
billion with a B.
$1 billion with a B into Italy, to make them the hub in Europe for vaccine manufacturing, research and development, and also that has had a sway on the influence. So around that time, there's a movement called the 5-Star Movement, and it's a political party. It's anti-establishment. Its leader, his name's Beppe Grillo, and he's kind of a mix between like a Ron Paul, Donald Trump, and George Carlin. He's an actor and a comedian. And he said at that time in 2015, perhaps seeing what happened in California, or maybe because of this investment by GlaxoSmithKline, he said, mandatory vaccination represents a gift to the pharmaceutical firms. So now fast forward to 2017, there's a measles outbreak. It kills 4 people in Italy, allegedly. That's what the news says. on that measles outbreak, kind of just like California with the Disney's measles outbreak, they rushed through an emergency vaccine decree. And that was it's similar to SB 277 in California. It was to vaccinate all school children with 10 vaccines, or they couldn't go to school. But Italy pushed a little harder. On top of that, if parents didn't do that, they had a fine at the beginning between 500 and 7,500 euros and mandatory reporting to the local health department for what they called suspension of parental rights. Now, what happened there, I was taken back by this. Everyone was taken back by this. They eventually backed off and didn't do the parental right suspension, but there still is a 500 euro.
I mean, they were having tens of thousands of people protesting the streets. I mean, the numbers were outrageous. I mean, we were showing them on the show, and people, wrapped as far as you can see down city blocks and hanging out of building windows. So they backed away a little bit. They said, okay, we're not going to destroy all human and parental rights, but we are going to still force vaccinate your kids.
Yes, 10,000 strong in Rome. Every weekend, thousands of people in the streets in many major cities in Italy. So that made them back off, and they eventually passed the law. But the people were activated. A nerve was hit, and the people did not forget that in Italy. So what happened was, come election time, all these people marching in the streets are now going to the polls. And the election was settled on March 5th. But on the way up to the election, some of these anti-establishment parties, we have the 5 Star Movement once again, and we have the right-wing coalition, or it's simply known as the League. They start siding with the parental autonomy. So their talking points for their campaign were, we believe in parental autonomy, not forced vaccination. So what happened was, there was a poll about 2 weeks before the election results came in, and they found, it was an independent poll, they found that 22% of the people polled, and this was polled of 6,000 Italians, 22% cited mandatory vaccination as a primary concern during this election. Wow. and an issue with their voting. So for the first time, I think in modern history, we see a population, a major voting bloc that wanted parental autonomy and vaccine choice. So that really is what it appears to sway the election, because about a week before the election, you have Time Magazine, Politico, BBC, all the major media outlets in the world started talking about how anti-vaxxers are going to sway this election. So they saw what was coming. They saw this voting bloc that was going to sway the election. And lo and behold, what happened was the 2 anti-establishment parties that were talking parental autonomy and promised to roll back this vaccine law in Italy, they won. Wow. They basically have a split power block now. So you have the 5 Star Movement and the League, and it's Luigi Di Maio is the 5 Star Movement candidate, and Matteo Salvini is the right-wing coalition, or the League. So what's going on right now is there is coalition building, and there's negotiations happening, and the people of Italy and the world who are watching are expecting any time for this vaccine law to be either scaled back or completely killed, because that was their campaign promise. During their campaign, both of those parties said, if we get in, we will kill this law. Wow. We will roll it back.
I wonder, I think about, it's astounding to me. I mean, we wrapped thousands of people around the state capitol here in California during SB 277. But
thousands of people took part in a protest against compulsory vaccination for children in Warsaw. The demonstration was organised within the framework of the International Day Against Vaccinations. In Poland, the anti-vaccine movement grows stronger, and there are more and more supporters of non-vaccinations for youngsters. Health authorities are concerned that such campaigns are having a serious negative impact on public health. It comes as the number of measles cases quadrupled in Europe in 2017, with 35 fatalities, according to the World Health Organization.
Jest ryzyko, musi być wybór. Czy wiecie o tym, czy każdy z was doświadcza w swoim życiu cenzury? Słyszycie krytykę od swojej rodziny, przyjaciół, bo oni słuchają tego jadu, który sączy się z telewizorów, tego jadu, który stworzyły koncerny farmaceutyczne, które chcą nam odebrać nasze podstawowe prawa. A to z dedykacją dla... Większość z nas była zaszczepieniami. Była szczepiona, szczepiła swoje dzieci. Do czasu, aż naszych dzieci dotknęły powikłania poszczepienne. Nie jesteśmy antyszczepionkowcami. Nie chcemy powodu chorób. Chcemy zdrowia. Chcemy epidemii zdrowia. Chcemy prawa do decydowania o zdrowiu i życiu naszego dziecka. To tylko my ponosimy konsekwencje tych decyzji. Nie urzędnik, który wystawi przetarg dla koncernu, który mu płaci. Nie lekarz, który informuje nas o powikłaniu i wymusza podanie szczepienia. System stawia lekarza w roli urzędnika, a nie lekarza, który ma wystrzegać perspektywy zawodowe. Lekarze, od was też zależą zmiany. Od was zależą zmiany. Musicie przestać milczeć, bo za przyznaje nieprzyjemnostka od razu jest karana przez system. Ale gdy duża grupa powie nie, może wszystko zmienić. Dlatego lekarze, chodźcie z nami! 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 Ale mówicie o tym, że z nami właśnie idą lekarze. Brawo dla tych lekarzy, którzy są odważni i są tutaj z nami. Oni ciągle walczyli ze sobą. Witają nas właśnie z lekarzami, pielęgniarkami, z rodziną, z całym społeczeństwem. A ci, którzy są winni, z góry patrzą i śmieją się. Dosyć tego. Nie ma na to naszej zgody. Nie ma zgody! Nie ma zgody! Nie ma zgody! Nie ma zgody! Chcemy wiedzieć. Chcemy prawa do pełnej informacji. Chcemy, żeby każdy z rodziców miał możliwość pisania ulotki szczepionki z szczepieniem. Żeby wiedział, że to szczepienie z jego dzieckiem.
Dajcie jeszcze raz kukułka.
A nie koincydencja. Mamy dosyć kłam. 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 Słuchajcie, przecież wy możecie wpłynąć na wynik wyborów. Macie olbrzymią moc. Chodźcie z nami! Chodźcie z nami! Chodźcie z nami! Chodźcie z nami! Stop! 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 Walczymy o wasze dzieci. Walczymy o zdrowie i przyszłość wszystkich pokoleń. O to, żeby nasze dzieci były zdrowe i szczęśliwe. Proszę zadbać im o zdrowie i o szczęście.
Dear friends, my name is Dr. Chris Schablom, and on behalf of the European Forum for Vaccine Vigilance, I welcome you to the website of Light a Candle. It is of utmost importance to us to commemorate all the victims of vaccination who were injured or even died as a consequence of their vaccination, generally without even being informed about the possibility of adverse events after vaccination. In many cases, worse still, they were subjected to compulsory vaccination. It is them who paid with their health or their life to keep up the dogma of vaccine safety. Today, I'm not thinking of the deaf and severely injured only, but also of those whose lives were burdened by chronic ailments, fatigue, autism, etc. I'm thinking of the thousands of families being put under severe stress dealing with the behavioral problems and sleeplessness of their children, their anxiety and exhaustion, marriages breaking up under the pressure of lifelong care, etc. I'm thinking of these young girls who lost their physical and mental integrity after HPV vaccination. On June 3rd, we want to honor and remember these victims by lighting a candle in every European country, in every city, in every village. All these candles will lighten our hopes for a safer world, inspire us to come up with more actions demanding the right for freedom of choice as to vaccination in all European countries, and to support all victims. Please let me invite you to join our action. Light a candle on this website, and one in your own home, or even better, in a public place, either alone or together with others sharing your concern. And send us your pictures and video recordings of this. Solidarity is indeed a mighty weapon, and we want to show the policymakers that we do stand together in our demand for full information and freedom of choice as to vaccination. I thank you for your attention and for your support.
Hello, this is Ty Bollinger. I am the author of many books on cancer and natural health. I'm also the producer of the video documentary series, The Truth About Cancer. And I want to talk to you today very briefly about International Vaccine Injury Awareness Day, which is June 3rd. I want to encourage you to light a candle to remember those that have been injured or to acknowledge those that have been vaccine injured. Vaccine injury is very real. I was at Autism One in Chicago this past weekend, and I had the privilege to speak with Andrew Wakefield and Del Bigtree, the producers of the movie Vaxxed, and they got up at the front of the crowd after they showed Vaxxed to about 1,200 people, and they asked, anybody that's in the crowd that has a vaccine injured child, please stand up. Everyone in the audience stood up. All 1,200 people that were in the audience had vaccine-injured children. So vaccine injury is a real thing. It's not psychosomatic. Unlike the government of Colombia, where there were 700 young girls, teenage girls, that were vaccine-injured by the Gardasil vaccine, and the Colombian government told them that they were crazy and that they were making it up. That's not real. That's not the fact. These children are not making up their injuries. It's not psychosomatic. It's a very real thing, and it's an issue that these parents and children have to deal with on a daily basis.
Hi, my name is Jeff Sherman. I started with working in biochemistry, then I got my master's in herbology. I've been in clinical practice for 23 years in Ventura County, currently in Thousand Oaks. I'd like to tell you why I'm opposed to SB 277 or any legislation that forces or mandates vaccinations. I believe that we have the right to choose which way we want to go. I'm not telling people that they have to do medicine, they have to do natural remedies. They have to vaccinate, they don't have to vaccinate. I just want to have that choice. I raised my 3 children with that choice. I will have grandchildren at some point, and I'm hoping my kids will have the right to choose not to vaccinate their children. I have seen the results of vaccinations in my clinic over the past 23 years. I've had parents bring their children in who were seriously injured after the vaccine. Recently, an 18-year-old came in who, going to college, got a vaccine, and her health deteriorated within 48 hours. I want you to have the choice. I want my family to have the choice of the way they want to go. That is why I oppose any legislation that forces or mandates vaccinations on our families.
Hi, my name is Brandy. I live in Santa Barbara with my 4-year-old son who is not vaccinated. I oppose to SB 277, and I feel very strongly about pro-parental rights and choice. I'm not anti-vaccine, I'm anti-toxin. If vaccines were safe, I would inject them into my child. But they're not. They're filled with known human carcinogens, formaldehyde, aluminum, mercury. All of these things, even in trace amounts, can have long-term effects. I don't want to risk that with my child. I used to work for Merck, and I know the corruption that goes on behind the scenes. I've seen it. I've heard of it. And I wish I could say that every doctor has his patient's best interests at heart, but I know that that's not the truth. That's not the truth. I own two houses in California. This is my home. I've lived here my entire life. I love this state. I pay tens of thousands of dollars in tax money, but if this bill passes, I will leave. And I know that there are a lot of others that will follow. Please oppose SB 277.
Now, let's go to this video. This is a guy, you can find him on YouTube if you just search Yellow Vest Doctor. Now let's go to this video and let's play it. Let's keep the audio low, and I will translate for you since he is speaking in French. Auto translate feature on YouTube. Let's play that video. These are the things that the Yellow Vests talk about. It's not just the drop of diesel that makes the tank full of petrol overflow. It's a lot deeper than that. I give very serious diagnostic to the fact that you, Mr. Macron, have decided to force our newborns to get 11 vaccines at once. He says this is a health scandal which will explode in the years to come. In those vaccines, there's aluminum. Nobody gets 11 infectious diseases all at once. It is a scandal what you're forcing newborns to endure, and you are producing the autistic people of tomorrow. Those who will have Alzheimer's, cancer, autoimmune problems, diabetes. In short, Mr. Macron, with your politics for the rich, for the pharmaceutical multinationals, for the multinationals who enrich some pension funds, you are dominating the French people and you totally despise them. This is why I wear a yellow vest. This is why I demonstrate in support of and with the yellow vest. One has to understand and have compassion for our fellow citizens. We're all connected in this struggle of the yellow vests for our freedoms. That is the Yellow Vest Doctor, ladies and gentlemen, giving the reasons that the yellow vests are fighting. They don't want money going to Monsanto. They want it going to their local farmers. They don't want it. They don't want the vaccines. They don't want the domination of the elite and the bankers and their puppets like Macron. They want the bounty that their forefathers fought for and gave to them. They want their inheritance.
So why are you here today?
My eldest was damaged by vaccinations, which the doctors all denied, but I'm her mother. I know that within 24 hours you don't suddenly become so ill and your personality and character change. And my children have the rights to be protected, and vaccinations haven't been proven to be safe. And I've got, as a homeopath, I've treated so many children where the parents always say they've not been well since vaccination. Eczema, asthma, changes in temperament, not being able to sleep, bedwetting, moodiness, and so it goes on. And I think my own immune system's been damaged because I've had so many vaccinations over the years. And now I've also had meningitis, having had a meningitis jab. It hasn't been tested, it hasn't been proven. It contains, I don't want the DNA of other animals and the viral particulates that the vaccines will always pick up when they're cultured going into my bloodstream or my children's bloodstream. I don't want the squalene, which I know can cause arthritis, going into my bloodstream, and other foreign substances.
Force immunization. You don't have to get your kids vaccinated. In Deutschland muss man seine Kinder nicht impfen lassen, bisher. the immunization system is such that you are supposed to immunize your kids, but you don't have to. In Deutschland soll man also seine Kinder impfen lassen, aber man muss sie nicht impfen lassen.